My name is Lorraine Lamb. I am an outreach worker and a community case manager in the downtown east area of Toronto. The way that we approach housing right now is a commodity and not as a human right. So conversations around the financialization of housing is really important. The fact that people can buy up so much property and housing and use it for profit, while there are so many people who don't have access to housing, I think that's a really big problem. I think the other thing too is that we haven't talked about social assistance rates very much. We talk about inflation in so many other contexts, right? Oh, like the cauliflower is $8.99, but we don't talk about the fact that social assistance rates have not gone up since the 90s. And so how is anybody supposed to afford rent when the average, market rent for a one bedroom in Toronto is about $2,000, but someone on welfare only gets like $600 for basic needs and housing? Those are, I think, really two big important pieces around this housing crisis. So, during like COVID, the federal government, decided, okay, people are going to get $2,000 a month because that is the bare minimum that folks need to survive. So, the government decided that $2,000 is what people needed, but social assistance rates are nowhere near CERB amounts. The factor is significantly lower. So why is that? I mean, one of the big things, like the solution to the homelessness reality, is to build housing. Right now, we live in this time where decision makers and people in power are talking about affordable housing, but it's not actually affordable to a lot of people, again, especially to people on social assistance. So what we desperately need is so many more units of geared to income housing to ensure that people on social assistance and people who are on low income can afford that. I think that's a really big piece. We need to stop this reality of, people being able to just buy up properties for investment. Again, like speaking to the financialization of housing, I think that's a really big problem. And then we need to increase social assistance rates. Like the rates that people have to survive on right now is impossible. We see people who are forced to make a choice between, getting a monthly transportation pass or getting groceries. And so if people don't have access to basic needs like food, water, shelter, then people will die. And so I think those are some of the really immediate things that we need. I've lost a lot of people to preventable deaths, lost a lot of people way too young. And I think, sometimes when I talk about this work, people are often like, oh, that's so great, you work with people who are homeless. But often I see this as actually like palliative care work. There are a lot of people who I'm supporting who, frankly, I'm not sure if housing will ever be a reality for them. And so almost it feels like working with folks is just about helping people maintain dignity of life. And perhaps, they might die on the streets before they even get housed. Yeah, I think hope is a hard question because some days things are exhausting and it feels like things are not changing. But I do remind myself that hope is a discipline, and I try to tell myself to discipline myself to learn what it means to hope. And then there are little things that happen in the community and in the work that really encourages me, I would say. So like, right now, for instance, so many more people are talking about this reality. And I feel like for a long time, especially before COVID, people were not as receptive or as open to talking about this. And at least now we're having more conversations. So that's hopeful. Maybe people are finally realizing the urgency of it. I think the other thing too is just like seeing how the community themselves have kept each other safe, have looked out for each other, have survived over the years. So the fact that the community is still around and they're fighting hard for their rights, for their belonging, I think that encourages me too.